Hello everybody, my name is Hammock. Today I'd like to talk about something that I kind of thought was already dealt with, but apparently it isn't, so I'm definitely going to bring this up. So, a while ago, I think back on maybe 3 or 4 seasons ago on UGC, we were messing around doing science, just figuring out what breaks and how we can fix it, and we found out that you can backspawn as the other team on certain maps. As in, if anyone doesn't know what backspawning is, if you're stuck in an old spawn, say on 5CP or something, or in Payload, if you change your loadout using a loadout hotkey, you can switch to the next spawn. What we found out is you can do that from the other team, which is kind of broken. In fact, it's very broken, because it means that, say, a spy on... There's a couple maps. There's Upward, Badwater, Lakeside, and Product, and probably other maps, but I was just testing the core Highlander maps. And those are very core Highlander maps. And basically, you can, as a spy, for example, go behind, sap a teleporter at the spawn, and then backspawn off their spawn to get out for free, which is a really broken strat, because it means a spy can essentially sap teleporters with zero risk. They go in, sap the telly, and they're immediately out, and they're immediately back on the board to play. It also fucks a lot with game sense timings. So if you're engineer on defense on Upward, and you know the spy's gone behind to sap your teleporter, instead of knowing that he's going to sap the teleporter and then take X amount of seconds to run back and then be in position to sap your sentry, he can sap the teleporter and backspawn back out and get to your gun quicker or come in from a different angle, and that really fucks with just being able to predict people, because you can do this really stupid strat, which I'm questioning is it an exploit? I'm starting to think it is, but it's also something that a map maker can fix, because it doesn't work on those maps. But I've also tested other maps and community maps and 5CP maps. Borneo, I thought it had an issue. It might have been on the previous version, but Borneo you can't do it on. There's these little invisible walls that are just in front of where the spawn is that you can't get to. So essentially, to fix this as being a potential exploit that people can do, map makers would have to go into those maps and fix it by adding invisible walls or extra shutters in front of the spawns, so that spies, actually anyone can do it. That's another thing. I was doing specifically for spies just because they'll be behind sapping tellies, but you could have a demo man or a soldier jump behind the enemy team and camp spawn waiting for the sniper or the medic to respawn to kill him. And then as soon as they get that pick, they can immediately come back out and be on the team. So it's there's really zero risk spawn camping, because usually you have to be out of the fight to spawn camp, which takes you out of the battle. But you can spawn camp, and if you don't get any value from it, you can just be out immediately and back in the fight, which is super broken when it comes to just the resource management and the level of play in Highlander of just having all these pieces on the board. You can essentially just have these free spawn camp picks, which I don't like. So this could potentially be something that leagues ban, because you have to question that there's the argument that you can just have a map maker go in and fix all those maps, which can happen. But fixing maps is very difficult. In fact, just general map maker work is very underrated and often a thankless job. You get a lot of people complaining that your map is shit, but they don't actually want to be constructive about it. So there's a lot of map makers who have worked for maps for ages and have just quit because it's just too much hassle for not even any pay really. So there's this you can fix it, but it's a lot of work. And the argument would be, at least from my perspective, why would you go through the effort to fix it when you can just ban the strat? If someone does that strat in an official, then it's a bannable strat, and they essentially default loss. The argument I'm proposing here for the video is, do we want this strat in the game in Highlander or 6 or just general TF2? Do we want people to be able to go behind, sap tellies and camp spawn and stuff, and then immediately port out when there's any sense of danger and have zero risk? Or do we want to put in the effort to fix the maps? There is sides of this argument. It's not a straight thing. It's a grey subject. I've had people angrily argue for having teleporting, probably just because they're spies and they're shit. But there is that argument, yeah. You can have that in the game if you want it in the game, but do we want it in the game, and do we want to put in the extra effort to fix those maps and other potential new custom maps coming into the game for this strat to exist in the game? That kind of came out a bit convoluted, but yeah. That's the ending thing. Do we want this backspawning from enemy teams in the game? Or do we want to fix it by like putting all this extra effort into fixing maps? That's the thing. So yeah, feel free to discuss. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.